There were chaotic scenes at the New Zealand Petroluem conference in New Plymouth today when the police forcibly moved protesters blocking entrances to the venue. Our Taranaki reporter Robin Martin was there.
The protesters barricaded the entrances at about 7:30, and just before 9 the police warned that they would be trespassed if they didn't make way. Soon after, the police moved in. Many of the conference's 450 delegates had been forced to sneak through shops and down alleyways, and only about 2/3 of them had made it into the venue. Protest organiser Emily Bailey says fears about climate change brought protesters out onto the street despite the persistent rain.
Climate change has started. We've seen the worst growing season here in maybe 30 years in Taranaki. Floods, droughts, wildfires. Our Pacific Island neighbours are being drowned by countries like this who are not prepared to take the necessary steps to get off fossil fuels.
Ms Bailey says the oil and gas industry is delaying the transition to renewable energy to maximise its profits. Greenpeace campaigner Steve Abel directed his message at delegates waiting to enter the conference venue.
As you know, the science of climate change means that if we are to have a future, oil and gas needs to not have a future. So we strongly encourage you, for the good of all of us, including your own children and grandchildren, to get out of this industry that is literally killing the planet. That's why we're here to say.
The principal scientist paleontology at GNS Science, Christopher Hollis, was one of the few delegates willing to speak to media. Mr Hollis says many people in the petroleum sector share the protesters' concerns and are looking for solutions.
We recognise that we have to stop pumping oil into the atmosphere. Emissions are the problem, right? It's not people use oil and gas very efficiently, and many of us here are working harder to find ways that don't damage the planet. So we're all on the same side, really.
Cameron Madwick is Chief Executive of conference organisers, the Petroleum Exploration and Production Association. Mr Madwick says Pepins had anticipated some sort of protest, but it was still upsetting to delegates.
It's disappointing that the protesters chose to blockade the venue and disrupted some of our delegates getting inside. We've asked the protesters that they respect the rights of our delegates to attend, just as we're respecting the rights of the protesters to convey their messages.
Mr Madwick says a highlight of today's conference was the Minister of Energy and Resources, Judith Collins, address to delegates.
Both displaying her government's ongoing commitment to the industry and also launching the 2017 block offer permitting round. That was met with, I think, some quite excitement in the room. A number of the companies who are looking to invest here will be heartened by what has been made available through the block offer.
Only 2 people have been arrested so far, but that could increase tonight with protesters promising to create a wall of sound at the conference dinner. Tomorrow the activists are running a parallel event focused on alternatives to petroleum, while the conference proper continues at the TSB showplace. In New Plymouth for Checkpoint, ko Robin Martin Tēnei.